Well, good afternoon. Today's commemoration would not have been possible without the immense sacrifice of merchant seamen who transported personnel and key supplies to the front lines in Europe. At the start of World War II, Norway had the third largest ocean-going and most modern merchant fleet in the world, with over 1,100 ships, operated by more than 30,000 officers and seamen, including my father, Per Eskelin. The Norwegian government in exile established the Norwegian Shipping and Trade Mission that put the entire Norwegian merchant fleet at the disposal of the Allies. Until 1942, Norwegian ships carried about one half of the fuel, particularly high-octane aviation gas, and one-third of all the other supplies that was critically important to England's survival during the Battle of Britain. But this effort came at a high price. By the end of the war, over half of the entire merchant fleet, including 3 of the 5 ships that my father served on, was destroyed by Axis forces, resulting in the loss of nearly 4,000 lives and about 6,000 sick or wounded, representing one of the highest proportional casualty rates of any Allied force. Like many other young Norwegian men, my father signed on to the oil tanker Barfon in Stavanger in May 1939 as a galley boy to escape the poverty of the Great Depression. He had no military training and believed Norway's neutral flag would shield him even as the war clouds gathered over Europe. His ship was protected during the Phoney War as he saw the scuttled German cruiser Admiral Graf Spee outside of Montevideo just before Christmas 1939. However, neutrality vanished after the German invasion of Norway while the Barfon was in Aruba. My father was now an unwitting but willing combatant in the global struggle against fascism. He volunteered to take a crash course on operating naval guns and eventually sailed across the North Atlantic on the cargo ship Marie Baki as a greaser in the engine room and as a gunner topside. One convoy was seared in my father's memory. On January 9th, 1942, the Marie Baki almost foundered near Greenland after encountering a winter storm. The ship lost all the lifeboats and the aircraft on deck. The lumber cargo also shifted, resulting in such a heavy list that only one of the engines could be used. The captain ordered the crew in their sea survival gear to clear the deck of the loose lumber and fasten the oil drums. The captain shouted to my father and others to hold fast to the rope on the cargo hold every time a big ice-cold wave hammered the ship. The weather-damaged vessel turned back, avoided a U-boat wolf pack outside of Sydney, Nova Scotia, and limped into Halifax Harbor on January 20th to undergo repairs before sailing as part of another convoy 7 weeks later. During this time, my father underwent further gunnery training at Camp Norway and had the good fortune to see Prince Olaf and Princess Martha when they came aboard the Marie Baki the day before the ship set sail again from Halifax to Liverpool. My father never considered himself a hero, but he was proud of his service. After the joyful celebrations in New York on VE Day, my father contacted his family about returning home. They advised him to stay in America because Norway's economy was in ruins and no jobs awaited him back home. So he continued to work for the Norwegian Public Health Service as a clerk, met and married my mother, and established a new life and family in New York City. My father was an active member of Norwegian war sailors groups. One of his high points was serving with Carl Andresen as an honor guard to lay a wreath with King Harold at the rededication ceremony of the Norwegian Veterans Monument in Battery Park. In the far left photo, you can see my father, Carl, and others talking with the king after the ceremony. Today, as we celebrate, let us also take a moment to remember the nearly 4,000 Norwegian seamen who gave their all so that their fellow citizens could be free.